Test, test.
All right. Good evening, Duarte community. Thank you for attending and braving the weather. I hope everyone was able to arrive safely and didn't get too wet getting to the building here. So the board has just returned from closed session, and in closed session, the board took action to approve and ratify the settlement agreement and the general release dated February 13th, 2025 between the parents and the district in Student v. Duarte Unified School District Special Education Due Process Case OAH, case number 2025010083, pursuant to which the district has agreed to fund and provide educational services to the student, and the student's parents have agreed to release claims against the district in exchange for educational services as specified in the agreement. It was moved by Board Member Diaz and seconded by Board Member Olguin, and it was a 5-0 vote. Do I need to say that? Okay, I said it. Additionally, in closed session, the board took action to approve and ratify the final settlement agreement and general release dated February 13th between parents and district in Student v. Duarte Unified School District Special Education Due Process Case OAH, case number 2024100919, pursuant to which the district has agreed to fund and provide educational services to the student, and the student's parents have agreed to release claims against the district in exchange for educational services as specified in the agreement. This was moved by Board Member Diaz and seconded by Board Member Hasso, and the vote on that was 5-0. Going on now, on February 15th, 2024, the governing board of the Duarte Unified School District rendered a decision to expel case number 042223 and set February 2025 as when the student would be eligible for readmission. in determining whether the student may be readmitted to Duarte Unified School District pursuant to Education Code Section 48916. Members of the board have reviewed the documents related to the expulsion and readmission of case number 042223 and shall vote on the matter of readmission. So, a yes vote will end the period of expulsion. A no vote will deny the readmission of the student, which will result in the extension of the expulsion period. Board, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Move for a no vote or yes vote, Mr. Reyes?
Move to deny. Is it no? Is that no?
Yeah, that would be a no vote.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion for a no vote by Board Member Reyes and a second by Board Member Hasso. We'll just go ahead and vote on that. So all those in favor of the no vote, or no, sorry, of the motion. All those in favor of the motion say no. Aye. Okay, so, sorry, it's, okay. So all those in favor of the motion to deny the expulsion, a no vote, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, board. I appreciate that. It was. All right, so we'll now go ahead and call the regular meeting to order at 7:11 p.m. We'll start with a roll call vote of the board members. Board Member Diaz.
Here.
Board Member Finley, present. Board Member Holguin.
Here.
Board Member Hasso.
Here.
Board Member Reyes.
Here.
And then Student Board Member Navarrete.
Here.
All right, and then Dr. Hillman, is all of your team here?
We're all here. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on now to the flag salute, which will be done by Mr. Reyes.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Reyes, for that. And we'll now have our beliefs, vision, and mission, which will be read for us by Dr. Hasso.
Thank you. Our beliefs. We believe we are a community of learners. We believe learning occurs in a culture of caring and respect. We believe all students are motivated to learn when they are engaged in meaningful work that connects to their lives. We believe expectations do influence performances and outcomes. We believe learning increases when there are high expectations for performance and conduct. We believe we have the responsibility to find solutions that enable all students to learn. Our vision, 21st century schools producing 21st century students. Our mission, provide the knowledge, skills, and inspiration for each student for success in college, career, and life.
Thank you very much, Board Member Hasso. And I've asked Vice President Diaz to just make a quick announcement here.
Queremos recordarle que si hay alguna persona que habla español, tenemos traductor en la parte de atrás. I just like to remind if there's anyone that doesn't speak English, so we do have a translator, and she's in the back.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, we'll now move on to item number 7, which is the adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Reyes, second by Board Member Diaz. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Excellent. All right, we'll now move on to the spotlight on Duarte High School. Dr. Hillman, would you like to introduce that?
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to invite Mr. Louis Haro up to the podium. As we know, monthly, we like to highlight each program or something special about each of our schools. And this month, I'm calling everybody doctor tonight. Mr. Haro is now going to share with us some of the things that are going on at Duarte High School, and I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Haro.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. Welcome, everyone. Appreciate being here. I'm thrilled to highlight one of our great programs we have at Duarte High School. When thinking about which thing to celebrate, we have many things to celebrate at Duarte High School. I came to the conclusion that, we talk a lot about early college, and we've highlighted that last year, but I still want to throw a plug in there. Early college program is thriving. We have a 4-year cohort where students can graduate with basically their entire lower gen ed education done. That gets your program. So just because I saw some new faces, I thought I'd plug that in there. But we're not here to talk about that this evening. We're here to talk about our academic support. So another special thing I feel strongly about Duarte High School is the Falcon family. And that is a motto that we use. We say it, but we live it. And speaking to students, parents, and staff, I think it's alive and rich at Duarte High School. The Falcon family, what does that really mean? Well, for students to succeed in high school, we obviously need to provide them that academic core and support them for that. But it's much more than that. It's providing them a rich experience in extracurriculars, but also taking care of their social, emotional well-being. And as much as possible, their families' social, emotional well-beings and other things. So here tonight, I'm going to highlight our support system we have in place to this comprehensive approach that we take to take care of our kiddos. So as you can see, we're going to highlight 4 main items tonight.
Excuse me, Mr. Haro.
Yes, ma'am?
Can you speak into the
Oh, yes, I can. All right, so first and foremost, we have our academic counselors. We have 3, and then we have a career and guidance counselor. So as a team, we have a 4-team unit there. Our academic counselors do a fabulous job. They start off as incoming freshmen with every parent meeting when we have a 4-year plan being developed, and the academic counselors monitor that plan throughout their 4 years to make sure that they are reaching their goal and their potential. And it's career, college, and citizenship, of course. Our guidance counselor is more about the career aspect and making sure that all students also, if they are on track to go to community college, she helps with that as well. So whether your goals are to reach a career field right away after school, or military, or go to a 4-year college or community college, our academic counselors assure that they know every aspect of what that means. And they also hold a lot of evening events where they have parent meetings regarding financial aid workshops, college application workshops. We just had one last night, as a matter of fact, another financial aid workshop. So I think our team does a fabulous job of assuring that students are aware of their opportunities and have a very comprehensive, detailed plan to ensure that they can reach their potential. Secondly, we have a partnership with LACO through, and it's called the Community Schools Initiative. A lot of schools in LA County are, not a lot, but there are a handful of schools that are involved in this as well. We were one of the first ones in the first cohort that came around. We're very, very fortunate to partner with LACO for this initiative. What this provides is, it's essentially, the purpose is there, but it's to build equity for students by highlighting areas of need, leveraging community resources so the students are healthy, prepared for college, and career and civic ready. So that says a whole lot. So what do they do? There's 2 full-time employees that LACO provides. One of them is here, coincidentally, Ms. Tracy Hall. Say hi, Ms. Tracy Hall. She's, before taking on this role, she was a longtime teacher in the district. So she's our community schools coordinator. And her partner is Gabby, and she is our community schools worker. Kind of a funny name, but that's what she is. And those 2 individuals work really, really hard to essentially create this connection between the family and the school to become this community school. So where students and parents and families can come to school and be the hub where they can find any resource that they may need. So her job is really to go out in the community and then find all these resources, where if it's clothing, if it's food, if you're housing issues, whatever the issue may be, her role is to align all those resources so when families come to us or a student comes to us with a need, we have someone to direct them to, and she will work really, really hard to ensure that they get whatever the need that may be. Just recently, we had a huge, this Saturday, as a matter of fact, we're having a huge clothing fair. I don't know what you're calling it, but it's basically we have tons of food, clothing that we're just gonna provide for the community. For Thanksgiving, we handed out around like 30 turkeys and all kinds of good food. So just whatever the needs of the families are, she's there to support that. If you go to the next slide, this is our parent, oh, we changed the name, our family, Falcon Family Center, where we have a dedicated room where we have backpacks, school supplies, shoes, socks, you name it. If a kid comes to us with a need, we are able to fulfill it that way. Did I miss an important key factor of your program, Tracy? I don't want to. They also do workshops, immigration issue, whatever the families need, we try to find a resource for them. So it's a great, great partnership, and I'm really happy that we have this on our campus. Next slide. Another great support system we have in place is our USC College Advising Corps, and Ms. Loa is our coordinator that works with our students, and her job is essentially to just assure that every single junior and senior, all our students in particular, but it's especially our juniors and seniors, understand what it takes to go into a four-year college or a community college. So she works with them one-on-one. She provides that one-on-one support, first and foremost, to find the right college for a student, and then what it takes to get into that college. There's a lot of meetings, a lot of one-on-one meetings that she provides our students, so students are aware of what's out there and what it takes to get there. A lot of one-on-one meetings regarding FAFSA, the financial aid application, some information around the scholarship application as well. And then, and also even the PIQs, which is, unless you know someone or if your parents went to a four-year university, sometimes it's really challenging for our students to know what route to take around the PIQs and personal insight questions. And she really provides a lot of support around there. So every single senior has been spoken with, either if they're going to a community college or a four-year college, and they know exactly what they need to do to get to their goals because of our supports we have in place. And Ms. Julia does a great job. Our last one I want to speak to is our Margaret's Place counselor. So he is an MFT certified. So he is through another partnership with LACO. He has a space on our campus where it's a safe space where students can come during break or lunch if they just want to kind of chill and relax. And he's there throughout the day if they need some just immediate, counseling. But he also does individual and group counseling for those that have more needs. He has a club on campus, a peer leadership club, and they do activities during lunch. He goes into the classrooms in our health class and provides seminars around trauma and healthy relationships. It's called a YES, Violence Prevention Curriculum, that all our students get. And then finally, he also provides staff development for our teachers around trauma, around self-care, around instructional practices that can promote growth mindset and those sorts of things. So with these 4 programs, I feel strongly that our students get really the support and care that they need to be able to thrive at Duarte High School. I did leave out one important aspect when I talked about Falcon Family, and anyone that knows who walks out on campus can attest to this, is that our staff really strives hard to develop strong relationship with our students. And every student has at least staff members that they know they can go and have that trusted mentor. And that's a really strong, solid foundation we have at Duarte High School and the culture we've built. That's why we kind of coined that model, the Falcon Family. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Board, any questions for Mr. Haro about this presentation about Duarte High School?
Yes. The Margaret's Place.
Right.
How long have we had that program?
We have had it since 2020, I believe. 2021, somewhere around there. It was after COVID, yes.
And are we getting a grant for that program?
Correct. It was through our LACO partnership where we have the community schools. And through that partnership, you have a couple options of what else you want. And that's what we went for.
And how successful has it been?
It's great. It's been great so far. So he's been working really hard to develop like the peer leadership group. So there's about 6 students who have taken this to heart and provide a lot of activity during lunch. But it's also like the space itself where students come in during break and lunch, and he can provide that safe space if they just need a quick, conversation with someone. And he also does the one-on-one counseling. So he has a caseload as like would DeVille or anyone else. So we have someone else on campus to provide that social emotional support.
Thank you.
And he's come through also when we have like any student with like suicidal ideation or crisis, we have just one extra person that we can lean on. And he's really, his demeanor is calm and cool and collective, and he's really a good fit for our school.
I have a quick one. I just want to thank Tracy. I have been to the Falcon Closet. I know they call it something different, but I've been there many, many times, and they are great. The kids come in. Sometimes they need, a pair of shoes, a sweatshirt, sometimes a meal. And sometimes they come back after school because they're a little shy doing it during the day, but Tracy is always there, or her assistant, and I really, really appreciate it. And I thank everybody who does donations and helps hang up all the clothes there. But thank you, Tracy, for everything you do. We do appreciate you. Thank you.
And I want to echo what Board Member Holguin just said, and just that it's a really beautiful resource and a place that provides resources, but with dignity. It could be really hard to have to ask for your basic needs and to have the resource there, but also in a really nice, dignified place is wonderful. So thanks, Tracy.
I'm going to go ahead and show my ignorance of baseball here, but there is some famous baseball player that is associated. Is it with Margaret's Place?
Exactly.
So what is that exactly?
So it's through the Joe Torre Foundation that Margaret's Place exists. Margaret is actually the name of her mother. Joe Torre was the famous Hall of Fame baseball player for the Yankees. And he actually visited our school, and our kids were in
I do remember when he visited the
Yeah,
school, and
yeah.
I'm not into baseball, so I wasn't aware of him, but I do think it's fantastic that we do have that partnership.
Yeah, the foundation started since he had a lot of trauma, and there was a lot of violence, not necessarily in his household, but just through that, he started this foundation to where it focuses on trauma and people that have been exposed to violence or domestic violence. So that's kind of his approach, not his approach, but one of his priorities. Is any student who has experienced trauma or has any sort of experienced violence in their life, they get specialized services through him.
I see, and then also I wanted to just briefly ask about our educational counselors that you had the pictures of at the beginning. How are, I know that, when we were kind of going through COVID, college admissions was just, for all intents and purposes, a little bit weird and atypical at that time. Are they seeing sort of a normalization, a return to normal now with the the number of students that are applying to college or showing interest, or how are things kind of going with our academic counselors in that respect?
Yeah, I think I know that there's more students definitely from 2020, 2021 applying to college. So that's something we track very closely, and with our college advisor as well. But yes, where we had a dip of maybe like 35, I think it was, percent at some point, at a low point, being A through G eligible, it raised to now where it's like 45%. We want to be in the 50s or higher, of course, but we're striving for that. But it's gotten a lot better. It's getting back to normal. And a lot of students are choosing to go to the 2-year route, which doesn't require them to be A through G eligible. We encourage it, we push for it, but there are a lot of students who decide to not take that last class or redo another class because they've committed to a community college.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Mr. Haro. Any other comments or questions from the board?
It is great information, like always. And today I decided to wear this to spotlights,
Thank you.
Falcons. But I want to ask Priscilla. Priscilla, can you add a little bit of your perspective as students of what he's mentioned, basically everything? Something, I know you're going to give us your report, but something that you want to say to the public.
Yes, so I feel I've always felt very supported. I've always thought the staff is always amazing. They're very supportive. Like Mr. Haro mentioned, everyone has someone on campus that they could speak to and talk to get that extra support. All of our counselors are great. Like I remember I had my meeting the summer before my freshman year with Mr. Anderson, and he went over my 4-year plan. And now that I'm a senior and I'm applying, Miss Lowe and Miss Araceli have been great, helping me and several others. There's always people in their office, like the Career Center. People love it so much. And they're always hearing different things. And I think that students, especially like me, like will be talking to a staff member or a teacher just to talk to them. And then we discover some new opportunities. Like I know friends that like to spend time in the Career Center, and then they'll be talking with Ms. Araceli, and she ends up having them sign up to be student ambassadors. Little things like that where we're always encouraged and being helped out to be the best that we can be. And I really do think that many of our students are supportive, whether they take the resources that Mr. Haro mentioned or just talk to someone on campus. But I do think that we all are very supportive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that student perspective. That was great. All right, any other questions or comments, board? All right, well, thank you very much, Mr. Haro.
Thank you.
It's great having you here. Appreciate it. All right, so now we can go ahead and move on to item number 9, which is going to be a presentation about the LCAP.
So I'm going to invite Dr. Lawson up to the podium. While she's walking up there, last night, the board and the community were able to conduct a study session about our California School Dashboard, and we really dug deep in some data. Tonight's presentation is a little bit of a continuation of that, not going as deep, but this is the mid-year sort of update of where we are on our LCAP. And I know Dr. Lawson will give a real brief kind of going over the data a little bit so you have an understanding of where we are. And then, of course, the LCAP will come back at the end of the year in June to see where we ended up with our actions that we took. So with that, Dr. Lawson, it's all on you again.
All right, well, hello again. I will be brief. I'm going to give the mid-year update on our LCAP. And as Dr. Hillman stated, I will be coming back again to do the annual report, so we'll be more in detail. So we're going to get hooked up there with the presentation. You do have it in front of you as well, so I'm going to go ahead and just get started, and then you'll catch up. So I'm going to update on the matrices and as well as some of the actions and where we are and our goals. So for goal 1, you can look, if you look and you see what our goal 1 is, it's college and career and life, provide equitable access to teaching and learning that improves outcomes for all students and closes the achievement gap. I will only read the goals. I'm not going to read all the matrices. For goal 1, most of our matrices are related to the dashboard as I presented last night. So we talked a lot about that data. So if you look on there are 4 areas. It has the metrics, it has our baseline, it has our mid-year update, which contains the data from the dashboard where it is appropriate, and then the status of it. So if it says final, it's the information that was based upon our spring 24 dashboard. So you can see there are several items that are final as they are listed as it relates to our CAPS data for math and English language arts, as well as the California Standard Science Test. There's information about our English learners and our reclassification information. All those are in the status of final. Okay.
We're just seeing if we can get the presentation up there, because I know we have copies of it up here, but not everybody can see it.
I was like, zip, zip, zip.
I know. We just want to see if we can get that. She was talking about the first goal. Okay. Is it coming? Do you have it? Okay. In just a minute, it will be up on the screen.
I can sing for you if you like. As we wait for the information to post on the we can talk about the distance from the standard and all we go in da 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 da. Woo! I love Duarte Unified School District. It's the best place in the world. Hey, we have the best board, we have the best superintendent, and don't forget about executive cabinet. Hey, we love the students and the parents too. We come here every day just for you. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Oh, let's see. Sorry. Coming. It's coming, yeah. We'll pick up at the actions when we get there. Goal 1, actions. There we go. All right, so we're just gonna scroll down. Just gonna go ahead. Yes, we're gonna go down to goal 1, actions. Okay, so talked a little bit about the matrices, so we're gonna keep moving all the way through that, goal 1, and then we're gonna go into the actions for goal 1. Yep, keep going, and more, and more. Okay, there we are. So with the actions, these are the actions that are listed. You'll see the action title, as well as what the budgeted expenditures are, and then the estimated actuals from our first interim. When we get to the end of the year, we'll have more accurate information because it would be towards the end. And then there's just the implementation notes. And so you see we targeted class size reduction to support reducing our class sizes, as well as supplemental resources to address the academic achievement gap. And we talked a little bit about this yesterday as well in our supports for our English learners as well, as there's some hands-on learning activities or outdoor science camps that we provide that opportunity for our students in 5th grade across the district, and then some opportunities for our middle schools. Continue on to the next slide. Also, there are some more actions listed, and you see they're directly related to the information as we shared last night, board, at our study session. So just with our long-term English learners, the support for our English learners, and then the career preparation with CTE, we have allocated resources to address CTE and provide opportunities for English learners, foster youth, and our low-income students by providing those CTE teachers. Next slide, please. Here's some more actions in there. This LCAP goal number 1 has about 12 to 14 goals, 14 actions. And so they're all related to how we're supporting college and career readiness. And so we can continue with this slide. I won't go into detail with all of them. So we'll continue moving on. For goal number 2, this is welcoming a positive and supportive school environment. We want to establish a school environment which fosters physical and emotional security, encourages community involvement, and promotes inclusive opportunities for student engagement. And so there are some metrics specific to goal number 2. So we'll move on to those metrics for goal number 2. And as you see, again, this is covered last night, and we have data, and it's in the final stage. It's our graduation rate, our high school dropout rate, as well as the middle school dropout rate. All of those are in the final status. The information was gathered from our dashboard as well as from our CalPADS data. We'll move to the next slide. And then chronic absenteeism as well, and the attendance rates. All of those are in the final state as we listed in our LCAP, what our goals were, and we have met those. We'll continue moving on. More metrics is there. Can you go back one slide, sorry? So there are some, this one is still in progress, the Healthy Kids Survey we do have that data is being analyzed at this point, so when I come at the end, I'll be able to present that information. So that's still in progress. as well as the information with our suspension rate. According to our dashboard, we have that already, so we're in the final status of that as well. So we'll move on to the next slide. These are the 4 actions related to the goals, and you can see some of the implementation notes there, looking at training for our PBIS team, continue safety training for our sites, like campus security as well as proctors, and providing that additional mental health support, and then those attendance students to ensure that our students are attending school every day in these safe, healthy environments. Next slide. Goal number 3, this is family and community partnerships. We want to provide parent-family engagement based on a climate of trust and authentic two-way communication. So we've implemented some strategies and practices to target the two-way communication, and we'll continue on to the next slide that shows where we are with that. So we're looking at school safety. We will get information from our parents through our thought exchange, as well as through a Healthy Kids Parent Survey, and then poll the sites to get information, get feedback from our parents on how they feel how safe our schools are, and how is it a welcoming environment or not. And then also talking to our parents about parent participation and involving them in the decision-making process. We will get information from our parents, their input to let us know how well we are doing in that area so we can continue to use that information to make improvements in our district. Thank you. We'll go on to the next slide. These actions we have in enhanced communication and listed in the implementation notes. You see some of the areas that we're using. At Leo, we have our parent portal, our parent links, and Parent Square. Those allow us to reach out to parents and send mass communications, communicate regularly with information, that's things that are happening at the school site, things that are happening at the district. And also with Leo allows us to reach out to our parents immediately if there's I'm looking over here, emergency that happens so that we can communicate with them as well. And then you see on there our parent university and then Title I parent family engagement activities. Those are actions that are in place. They're still in progress, but they're in the implementation stages. Next slide. And then goal number 4, this is 21st century schools, facilities, and operations provide a highly skilled staff and 21st century facilities that support diverse educational programs that prepare students for college, career, and life. And we know that it's people, not programs, that make a difference for students, but we also know that we need to have clean, safe campuses that are orderly so that our students can be in an environment where they can thrive and grow. So this is our goal, our target here for our 21st century schools. And we'll move into what our actions are. We need to make sure we have qualified assignments, our teachers that are qualified. So you can see the status there on where we are with our teacher assignments and making sure teachers are appropriately placed and have the appropriate credentials to service our students. And then the feedback on our schools, the facilities, and that they're in good repair. And looking at that, the standard, we want to make sure that we continue to maintain those facilities. We do get visits from LACO, and they come check out our sites. Our sites are in good condition, and we try to stay on top of those repairs. And then we'll move on to the next slide. Another metrics here as well. It's in the final stages. This is to present the students with access to standard-aligned instructional materials at school and at home, measured by the Williams report. And we'll continue. And then these are the actions as they're mostly related to we need the right people in the seats to meet the needs of our students. And you can see what's listed here. This is all about our staffing and the team that is here in the Duarte Unified School District and our operational expenses and our facilities information. And I think that concludes the update for our LCAP, your update. Thank you. And I'll take any questions if you have any.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lawson. Board, any questions for Dr. Lawson?
Yes, as far as ADA goes, what do you know what our loss has been in dollars and cents or dollar amount? Has it been $1 million?
I do not have that information,
No?
but that's a detail we can get that information for you. I don't have that at
Yes,
this time.
because I'm curious to see what that is, and we should share that with the community so we can emphasize how important it is for our children to be in their seats. You know, that ADA that's our income, you know.
All right, Dr. Lawson, I noticed this was on LCAP goal number 2, the metrics page. This was talking about the school connectedness. So I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about that connectedness and then the sense of safety that the kids report? Because I'm assuming these are self-reported numbers.
So students take a survey, the Healthy
Okay.
Kids Survey, and on the Healthy Kids Survey, there's a series of questions related to, different questions that relate to being connected to the school side. I can't think of them, I'm sorry, the questions that they asked at the top of my head, but they're embedded in the survey that the students take in 5th and 7th grade. And we get that information and we use it in our.
Okay.
report.
And the, I mean, it just seems like in general, there's a trend as they get older, they're less connected. And it seems somewhat counterintuitive just based on the number of hours that my kids spend at DHS. I feel like they're more connected, but I'm just wondering, is that a common trend, or is that something that's not really being uncovered by the survey correctly?
So that information is, we have new information that has come in and that's still being analyzed. So that one is in progress. So this information, if I'm looking at the right one, is based upon that was our baseline information. And so the students did complete at the beginning of the year, in November, they completed a Healthy Kids survey for this year with that same information, and I'll have to come forward later with that information, so hopefully it'll be different.
Yeah,
So,
I guess what I'm saying is looking at grades 5, 7, 9, and 11, the number goes down as you go further down, as you get older and kind of go. Is that a common trend that's kind of seen across the board, or I guess the state or the region?
Yeah, go ahead, Nadia.
Sure. So this is a survey that's California Healthy Kids Survey is a survey that's administered. It's an anonymous survey. It's through West Ed. It's used, many districts throughout the state use it. It used to be required. Is that trend typical? From my experience, it is typical. It doesn't mean it's okay. It just is the way it's self-reported. So it's the questions that are asked. They're not asked specifically. That's why when Dr. Lawson was trying to access the questions are not, do you feel connected at school? They asked a series of questions that kind of aggregate into this response. So it's an area to look at. There's many questions in there. These are just 2 that I pulled out for this report, but it's data that's analyzed at the school level to look at. The teams look at it in terms of how they can improve in terms of connectedness, school safety, and other factors that impact their learning.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yes, Dr. Lawson, what's the parent education classes through Parent University? What's that all about?
So I'll jump in here. I'm just gonna, and to Dr. Lawson's credit, remember, she's new to this position. The LCAP was written last year, that when I was in that position, so that's why I'm kind of jumping in here. We used to have, that was from last year when we made the goal. The Parent University was through our adult ed classes, through that they conducted. You had attended them in the past as well. I don't believe it this year. I don't know thus far if they've had started them yet, but at the mid-year we'll be looking at that toward the end of the year, what other classes are available. And we talked earlier.
So that's the PK program?
That isn't the PK program. No,
It's
it's
not.
it's the Parent University. Mr. Morris used to conduct that through our consortium, our adult ed consortium.
Okay, thank you.
And I just wanted to ask, you brought up a good point, Mr. Reyes, around the ADA money. But just as I'm looking at this, I'm curious if it's typical or appropriate to include the ADA monies here. I know that there's budget expenditures that are tied to the action goals, but as I'm looking at what's included on there, for instance, mental health support, does that come from our general fund? Does that come from categorical fund? Does that come from special funding? So just, I mean, ADA is important. We want to be transparent about it, but also is this where we would present that information?
So this is where we are using our funds, our LCSF funds. So we have our base grant, and then we have our concentration funds that we receive for our homeless foster youth and our English learners. And so we have identified areas where we want to target to provide that support for those students. So this is what that's related to, that funding is. So we have to give an account for that funding to show that we're using it to address the areas for student improvement.
Okay, yeah. And just for the audience, LCFF would be our local control funding formula?
Yes.
Okay, so that's based on all of our demographics, kind of decides what that dollar amount looks like when it comes to ADA and additional funding.
Yes, for our base grant as well as for
Okay.
our concentration funds.
Thank
yes.
you.
Mhm.
Okay, in the goal matrix, we have that in 2023, 50.7 of English learner students were making progress toward English. And 2024, 45.7 is a kind of gap. Do you have any idea why that happened?
So last night when we talked about our English learners, we looked at their progress, we looked at the achievement that they made. Well, I would make a slight speculation. We do have, with our English learners, certain students get reclassified, and then they come out of our English learners, and then we have that reclassification. Our students have been reclassified. We have their data. That may slightly impact the numbers of students in terms of their proficiency if they're moving from one group into another group. The information is kind of like a double-edged sword, right? So you have kids that are classified as English learners, and they get redesignated, then they score better, they're out of that configuration. And that could be it, or there's sometimes a slight dip from year to year with our students. Different students come in that are being assessed and other students that are going out. So we may be a slight dip with that achievement.
Well, I commend you for the work that you are doing because you're really making great presentations to us from yesterday, today, and few meetings, because basically you've been in this position for what, 6 months?
That's it.
About-
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to thank you as well, Dr. Lawson, for the study session we had last night. It was very informative, and I do appreciate you keeping us informed as to where we're at and we stand. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, board, any other questions or comments for Dr. Lawson? All right, thank you very much, Dr. Lawson. We really appreciate your efforts and your presentation. It was excellent.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to item number 10, which is going to be report from our student board members, but we have one student board member tonight, so we will give you double the time, Priscilla, to go ahead and present. Please.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a great night so far. So to get right into it, on January 16th, representatives from the University of Laverne came to the high school and offered several of our students on-the-spot admission. It was a great opportunity for our seniors. And then on January 24th, it was the 100th day of the school year, and our seniors hosted an event, which was called Nostalgia Day, for our seniors to look back and experience the fun things they used to do in elementary school. And I know at the elementaries, they also celebrate the 100th day of school. On January 30th, our seniors took their panorama photo, and they also announced their Senior Hall of Fame, which is different categories like most athletic, most likely to succeed, best dress, and our senior class voted, and our winners were revealed. Then on January 31st, our ASB students went to Azusa High School where they attended something called Symposium. It was a great opportunity for our students to learn about other ASBs and bring back ideas that they can make our school better. They also performed a stomp that they had been working on for weeks. Their hard work and dedication was showcased, and for everyone to see, it was great to see their hard work. On February 4th, our girls soccer team got the opportunity to attend the University of Laverne for the event called Girls Got Game. This was a woman athlete. They were supported as being women athletes, and it was like an empowerment event, and they got to learn about different opportunities they can achieve in the world of sports. This week has been Kindness Week, an opportunity for our students to learn about kindness and spread it among our school. There have been various lunch events this week, and tomorrow, as it's Valentine's Day, will be our big day in the quad for students to come and have a little fun and spread the love. Next Friday, the next Friday will be the winter rally. The theme is Scooby-Doo, and this is an opportunity for us to highlight our fall academics, our scholars, and as well as all of our winter sports. So that will be very exciting. Yearbook has been working extremely hard. It is kind of crunch time for them. They're attending many events, taking photos of our clubs and sports, and I'm really excited to see what the yearbook looks like. And then our prom tickets are on sale because prom is going to be April 19th. During March, we've calmed down a little bit due to like events and activities. We calmed down a little bit as we prepare for the final stretch of April and May. Boys basketball did a great job this season. Their senior night was on February 4th, and they made it to CIF. Their CIF game was last night, and unfortunately, they did lose, but they had a great season. Girls basketball also had a great season this year. Their senior night was on January 30th, and they're actually playing in a CIF game as we speak. Boys soccer, we love to see our boys play. They had 2 teams this year, and they did a great job this season. Girls soccer is doing a great job. Yesterday was their CIF game, and they won, and tomorrow they will be going to round 2. And then wrestling also did an amazing job this season with having several league champions. And our drumline and winter guard are currently preparing for their first competition, which will be next Saturday. Our spring sports that we have this year are baseball, softball, swim, track, boys tennis, and boys volleyball. We're really excited to get them started as their season officially starts next week. So after the severe windstorm, there was some damage done to the baseball field. There's no longer like the dirt, and the way baseball fields are created, there's like a layer of clay and there's no dirt on top of that clay. And due to that, they are not able to practice on the field, and it's because it is dangerous. So they are hoping to get that dirt back on the field as soon as possible because their season does start next week and they haven't gotten an opportunity to practice correctly. I wanted to give a shout out to our wonderful associate principal, Mr. Ernest. Yesterday, he attended the girls soccer CF game at Bellflower High School. When that ended at 7:30, he went to attend the boys basketball CF game. We appreciate his dedication and the love he has for our students. And to conclude, it was DHS night to get highlighted, and I am a DHS student, and I do love DHS. I dedicate a lot of my time and efforts to the high school, and I really do love it and appreciate it, and I love what I do, and I'm really glad our students get supportive, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for the high school. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. Excellent presentation. And it's very nice and wonderful to hear how much you and so many other students enjoy the high school. It is a fantastic school and one that I think we can all be very proud of. So thank you for sharing those items. All right, I think we can now move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Hillman.
Thank you, Dr. Finley. Good evening, everybody. I'm glad you're here tonight. As we talked about earlier, last night we had a meeting. We have a very busy week this week with the board, working last night and tonight. And they really, as you can see, last night, including tonight with Dr. Lawson, engaged thoughtfully in asking really insightful questions that help shape policy and priorities for our school, because that's their role. We really appreciate that, because the board's work often involves making really complex decisions that directly impact and support our students. Tonight's agenda reflects that responsibility with items including the comprehensive school safety plans, the adoption, my water bottle, sorry. Just hydrating down here. What was I? Oh, the plans. We have some new science textbooks we're looking at. We're continuing support for our employees that will be approving that, and including the update that Dr. Lawson did today. Really involves all of that deep thought, and we really appreciate that. As we're nearing the completion, getting close, of the sports complex, and decisions will be made to initiate the process of relocating child development, MIT, and repurposing and upgrading classrooms, especially at Beardsley, through this process. This is all part of some of the work that we're going to be doing tonight. These discussions and decisions that ensure that our priorities remain student-centered and aligned with district goals, and I really appreciate that. I also wanted to a special thank you to our community for its ongoing support of these facility upgrades. Investing in our schools is an investment in our students, and this investing in our students is investing in our future. So we are grateful for the shared belief for their potential. I was going to say a celebratory note about all the great things that are happening, although Priscilla already told you a little bit about the sports that I was going to mention, so I won't steal your thunder, but we're really proud of the athletes, especially at the high school recently, to have completed some great seasons. So we're incredibly proud of their hard work and the achievement of all our students across the district. And Dr. Finley, that concludes my report.
Great, thank you very much, Dr. Hillman. We can now move on to public requests to address the board, and I do see that we have several up here, so we can go ahead and get those started, I believe.
So as I call your name up, what we'll do is you'll have 3 minutes. I will set a timer. Just give me a minute. And I'm going to call up Tracy Hall. Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, hang on.
I promise I'll be under 3 minutes.
You got to start singing now.
Don't sing.
No, you don't want that. Oh, no.
It's one of those board meetings, isn't it? I'm sorry. Okay, that's part of our process, everybody, that there is a 3-minute limit for our public comment, at which time that the public has an opportunity to speak to the board, although they won't be addressing the speaker. So at this point, Ms. Tracy, you can go ahead and start.
Good evening. I am here on behalf of the Community Schools Initiative to share an incredible story of community support. Thanks to the generosity of so many, we were able to provide Thanksgiving meals for 65 families in the Duarte Unified School District. Initially, I had arranged with Foothill Unity Center to provide turkeys, canned goods, fresh produce, and other non-perishable items for each family. However, due to a change in management, those plans unfortunately fell through just a week before our scheduled distribution. By then, I had already informed the families about their upcoming meal pickup, leaving us in a difficult situation. Foothill Unity Center was able to only donate canned goods. The thought of not being able to provide a meal to our Duarte families in need during the holiday season broke my heart. That's when I reached out to the owners of Grocery Outlet, who generously stepped in with donations of potatoes, carrots, and $500. With their support, I was able to assemble a full Thanksgiving meal for each family, including stuffing, marshmallows, a loaf of bread, celery, onions, butter, eggs, a gallon of milk, a turkey and a pie, and much more. Despite these contributions, the total cost for the meals still exceeded $2,000. At that point, I was prepared to cover the remaining expenses myself. However, I decided to reach out to the incredible staff at DHS for support. And they, along with the community, came through in the most amazing way. I want to take this moment to recognize and express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who contributed. Our Duarte Unified employees, Linda Alfred, Leslie Bartlett, Norm Anderson, Javier Viveros, Stella Starr, Louis Haro, Eric Setlich, Martha Jimenez Corsi, Elizabeth Delgado, Dean Sayuki, Lisa Bowden, and Russ Ernest. And our amazing community members and businesses, Kelly Lynch, Barbara Ackerman, Arlene Bagger, Liviera Martinez, Susan Miles, Gabby Borja Jimenez, the Redmond family, Kathy Pasillas, Michael Hing of Grocery Outlet, Solo Motorsports, Lativia Wiggins of the Duarte Community Service Council, and all the generous individuals who donated turkeys via Grocery Outlets. A huge thank you, to Larry and Veronica Cook of Grocery Outlet Duarte for their unwavering support. It truly made a difference. This experience is a testament to the power of community, and I'm beyond grateful for each and every person who stepped up to make this happen. Thank you all.
Catherine Walker.
Hi, Dr. Hillman and the board. It's a pleasure meeting you. I am the CT business teacher at Duarte High School. Started right after Labor Day of 2024. And I'm just here to state my case and to, of course, unfortunately, it's not visible because this is an impromptu visit, but been teaching for 22 years, originally from Illinois, and I enjoy this position. I applied. I actually had the opportunity to be a substitute at Swing Education, working as a substitute teacher, and that's how I found out about Duarte School District. I worked at Beersley, and when I saw this position, I was intrigued, and I applied, and I was offered the position by Mr. Harrell. So I teach the Career Explorer as well as 3 business entrepreneurship classes as a dual business major, entrepreneur, everything. Been in California for 10 years. So that's just a little history, but I just want to highlight the career ready practice that I am teaching or taught to the Career Explorer students, and just to highlight to everyone about the number 8, model integrity, ethical leadership, and effective management. And I really don't know what to say, and I have, I know I have 3 minutes, but I have an example of one of the beautiful businesses that I had the opportunity to share with Rick Crosby last week during our meeting from Restaurant French Fries. So this is actually was created by a hardworking student, Adrian, who's actually a senior, major in computer science, and he really worked hard. And he came after school to get this ready for their final exam, which was the presentation, which the campus was invited. And I just want to reiterate, you know, this is actually their logo, which was created by the graphic design program, followed mirroring the VE entrepreneurship program, and just pull out, you know, their cup. This is their bag, the little burgers, and just an example, you know, working very hard and feverishly, setting up the classroom, curriculum, which there is no curriculum, actually. We don't have a textbook, but thank goodness with my background, my first CTE business teaching position at LA Academy of Arts, teaching all the classes, I had brought
That
this to this
concludes your
world.
3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just want to reiterate that, and I did email you, and I appreciate this opportunity to present this to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to the podium, Steve Hernandez.
First, I want to recognize that it's been a long time since I've been the only person here. So welcome, everybody. And I was at that meeting last night at the workshop, and I was really impressed with the progress that we've made since COVID. That really was a hard time on our kids, on our staff, and on everybody, because it really, we had to develop a lot of innovative ways to teach and keep kids attracted while they were at home trying to do this. And I'm sure they were tempted in many ways to do other things instead of study. So I just wanted to recognize that, but I also wanted to recognize one other thing, and that is that we've got to find a way of starting to get this out to the community. That's really the one missing ingredient I've seen here for a long time. But more importantly, we've gone through decades of things being said about our schools, and that really is the one that we need to figure a way to get to the community and correct. It happened when my kids started school, and I kept them out for 5 years, for the first 5 years of education. And I wish I had known better, because I think they'd have done better. But I mean, they were in a private school, and I really, really wish I could have gotten them in earlier, but I had to learn. So I got involved with the schools, and I've been involved ever since. But we need to start putting effort into that. And I've heard many times, I've heard from Tom and from others that there's a lot of kids out here that are going to other schools that we'd like to bring back in. And really, that's not going to be an easy task because, again, I've felt this and I've talked with people recently that have put their kids elsewhere because they heard it. And that tells me that it's just developed a life of its own that we've got to find a way to overcome. But I believe in our schools, and I definitely believe in our kids. So I just hope we can find a way to deal with this. Thank you.
That concludes our comments on this, at this portion of the agenda.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to our general functions. The first one is item 13.1, which is approval of the minutes for the organizational/regular meeting that was held on December 19th. This one requires a little bit of explaining. So this normally would have been approved at the last month's meeting, and there was a request to examine one of the votes at that meeting, and so we are bringing it back for approval at this meeting to go ahead and allow us to vote. Now, I will not be able to vote on this because I was not present at the December 19th meeting, but notwithstanding, I will still be calling for the vote and everything. I just won't be voting myself. So I just wanted to let everyone know that. So with that in mind, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as they are written for the organizational/regular meeting that was held on December 19th, 2024?
Move to approve.
So motion by Board Member Holguin, second by Board Member Diaz. Any discussion?
Yes. Was the correction made that I brought up at the last meeting?
Yeah, so your request from last month is not in there now, but you can request a revision to, I believe it was from a no vote to a yes vote for Board Member Diaz to be.
Correct.
Minutes that are being presented right now are as they were written at the last meeting. So the thing was, the board was going to review them and then now come and state your vote at this time.
Okay, so I guess
Currently, the motion on the table is to approve them as they were written and as they are written. That's the motion on the table right now.
correct, yeah. So as they were written back originally, that's the motion that's on the table right now. So if we don't approve this motion, then we can entertain a second motion with a revision.
Why aren't we approving it with a correction? I don't understand that.
Because that's how
That's how the,
was taken at the last meeting.
yes.
They were tabled, and the thing is, the board was going to review them and bring them back.
Yeah, so if we're going to make a revision, we have to make a revision in public. So we tabled it last time. So in order to have a revision, we would need to vote no on the current version and then entertain a motion to approve with the revision of the vote.
Okay.
So currently, right now, the motion that's on the table is to approve it as written. So with,
So they can vote, or someone can amend that motion. Does someone want to amend that motion, or do you already just ready to vote on that approval?
okay, so yeah, we can go ahead and have an amendment to that motion if that is desired.
Right, that's what needs to be done.
Okay, so we would need an amendment to the motion.
So I move to amend the motion.
Okay, and so, and the correction would be
Yes,
a yes vote for
Vice President
Reina Diaz.
or Mrs. Diaz, yes.
Okay. All right, so the current motion then is, by Mr. Reyes, is to amend to revise the minutes to reflect a yes vote for Mr. Reyes for Ms. Diaz for the position of Vice President. So is there a second?
Second.
I have a,
So let's, okay, so we have a second. So now is there any discussion?
okay. I did check, double check on YouTube, the meeting that we had in December, and it sounds very clear. Reina Diaz, Vice President. From Mr. Reyes, no. You can check on
I have checked, okay.
YouTube. I
You know
checked
what?
today.
You guys do
2 days.
whatever you want to do. I know what I said, okay? I don't know why you're questioning what I said, but if it bothers you that much, then just forget it.
No, it's not that bother me, Mr. Reyes. I respect you as our board member, and I can tell you, I went and see.
I'm going to say
twice.
something, and I didn't want to say this, but I got chewed out from my daughter for saying yes to you, okay? And that's how I know I said yes.
Well, probably we don't agree, but it's up to the board. If the board want to do it, okay.
So the current motion and second on the table is for a revision of the minutes to reflect the change that Mr. Reyes voted yes for Ms. Diaz for the position of Vice President. So is there any more discussion on that motion and second? All right, so with that in mind, all those, well, probably do a roll call. Okay, so all those in favor of this amended motion, say aye.
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 And I'm abstaining. So I believe that was a 4-0 vote. Thank you very much, board. The next meeting, or I believe that the next minutes will be more simple than that. So this is the approval of the minutes for the regular board meeting on January 16th. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Holguin. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All righty, now we can move on to the approval of the consent calendar. The next item of business is adoption of the consent calendar. Does anyone want to remove any item for separate discussion or action? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as written?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Holguin. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All righty, and moving on now to 13.4. This is first reading of board policies. Is there a motion to approve the first reading of these board policies?
Move to approve first reading.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Reyes, second by Board Member Hasso. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Next is board representatives to the Community Education Council. Do I have a motion to approve the two from the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Holguin. Any discussion?
Yes, could we read out the names, please?
Yes, we
Who
can do that.
represent?
Yes, so
Thank
Board Member Reyes, I believe your representative is Mr. Alton Preston, and then Board Member Hasso, I believe yours is Ms. Juliana Edwards. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, excellent.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, board? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. All right, we'll now move on to item 13.6, which is a discussion item on the Waldorf School leasing the Andrews Duarte campus. And I believe we have some public comment on this.
Before the board engages in that conversation, discussion, we do have members of the public who would like to speak. Members of the public, I'll call you up to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes. Forgive me if I don't pronounce your name. Michelle Mondia? Welcome, Michelle. You have 3
Hi,
minutes.
Good to see you again. Thank you. I'm a longtime Duarte resident and a parent at the Pasadena Waldorf School. I'd like to make a statement urging the board members to consider Andres Duarte as a temporary site for the 250 displaced students from PWS. I want to emphasize that this is an emergency, humanitarian, temporary aid. I do want to address the 3 items concerning what was expressed as a concern. First is the district's pending 99-year land lease agreement with Crestfield Townhomes to build 169 townhomes on what was a school site for Andres Duarte. Per report, construction, I assume, will start in 2026 and completed in 2028. I am saying this because I feel like this allows plenty of time for PWS between now and the tentative start of construction in 2026 to find another place. And I can confidently estimate that our high school, which is still intact, will allow us to move our lower school by then. While PWS cannot give an accurate length of time, when nobody can, we are seeing underground what has started as a cleanup and rebuild of Altadena. One other item was the potential need to use Andres Duarte as an MIT campus site. From my understanding, the Andres Duarte campus is 392, or has the capacity to house 392 students. PWS has 250 students thereabout, and I am more than happy to be confidently saying that we are willing to share that space should the MAT program also be housed there. We have 250 students without a school who are anxious about being displaced and not knowing where to go. We have 250 students eager to be in community, held with love by their peers and teachers. I urge members of this board to take a courageous and compassionate step in providing Andres Duarte as a temporary site for humanitarian need. I urge us as Duarte residents to be courageous, especially at such a catastrophic public health disaster. I urge the members of this board to act with compassion and to open its borders to the students who have been without a school since January 7th. I urge members of the board to show our Duarte residents to not only be bystanders and simply bear witness to the crisis happening around them, but instead share the resources that we have, especially when it serves to be a lifeline for others in time of great need. I urge the members of this board to demonstrate to the residents, like myself, and especially to its students and community members, what it means to act with courage and empathy. Thank you for listening and considering our plea to provide a safe place for our students and teachers. Thank you.
Amanda Gish? Good evening, Ms. Gish. You have 3 minutes.
Hello. I am a parent at the Pasadena Waldorf School, and I'm just here to, I guess, let you know what a respectful, beautiful community the school is. And when you were speaking about the school district's values earlier, I think you said respect and caring. And I feel like our community really aligns with that. Everything that the school represents is, it's just so intentional. And I have 2 elementary school students there, and I've just been blown away by how loving and caring everyone in the community is. When you visit this school, you see children like helping each other, and there's no issue with bullying or it's just really lovely. And so I think it would really be an asset if we were able to temporarily have a space in your community. And that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David Bolstad.
I'm David Bolstad. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees of Pasadena Waldorf, and I want to thank you all for entertaining our comments tonight. You'll see in the audience there's quite a contingent of Pasadena Waldorf parents and faculty, and I think you'll hear a lot of, and I hope it goes quickly. I know time is getting late, but you'll hear a lot about the school. And the school, as was just mentioned, is a very tight community. We'd be very good neighbors to you, and I think we'd be an addition to your community, and we would appreciate a welcome here. We are a school without a home. We have 2 campuses in Altadena, one on Mariposa Street and one on Mendocino. The Mariposa Street houses approximately 200 students, and the high school about 40. During the fires on the morning of January 7th, the Mariposa, the main campus, was completely destroyed. There was nothing there. The Mendocino campus was damaged, but is capable of being repaired. In fact, now the Army Corps of Engineers is occupying it as its home base for clearing the area. We don't know how long that's going to take, but we think over the course of the next 6 months to a year, we will be able to find a location for the school. The staff, including our pedagogical director, Aaron Shemin, who is here tonight, has been working feverishly to find a short-term solution, and we've got our students in a location now for the short term, but we need something that we can move into for perhaps through the end of the fall semester, and then ultimately perhaps through the spring semester of next year. So it'd be a 6 to 12-month window of time that we'd be looking for a temporary place to exist. It's been very challenging on our administration. It's been very challenging on our students and their parents. And we would be very appreciative of any assistance you could give us. I understand that there is a negotiation, an exclusive negotiation agreement. I've been made privy to some of those terms. I'm a lawyer by trade, a real estate lawyer. In looking at what you have in front of you, and I'm sure you have counsel that will give you advice, but it does not appear to me that there's any limitation on the district's use of that property between now and when the ultimate close would occur. I don't know what the status is. I know there's a due diligence period that would seem to perhaps have run in September of 2024 with the developer providing information with you, including a schedule that would ultimately lead out to a close, and I think it was tentatively set for some time later this year in September. I don't know what the status of that is. Frequently, in my experience, those types of things, CEQA approval entitlements, take more than the time that's anticipated. If there is a window of time that would take you through next spring or even through December, we would very much like to make your community our home.
Thank you. That concludes your time. I think it's AJ Lambert, or is that correct? Thank you. You have 3 minutes, Ms. Lambert.
It's nice to meet you. I'm a parent of a child at PWS, and I just want to echo what some of the others have already said, which is that this is a very welcoming and wonderful community at the school, and they have done an amazing job with our children to help them have what you were talking about the social, emotional part of their well-being is so cared for in this community. It's like nothing I've seen. My child started there last year after having come from a very, very tumultuous first half of 7th grade. This school was her home. It saved her, and I think in many ways it saved her life. So now that it's been destroyed, it's very difficult for her to try to move on from that. It's very hard. She's doing okay, but she's working on it. And as much as they have cared so much for all the social, emotional well-being of these children and the educational part as well, they act like, in 8th grade, they act like they're little adults because they've been so amazingly cared for in their the spiritual, for lack of a better word, part of their development. However, they are still children, even at 13 and 14 and below. And the one thing that they're missing right now is a home base to report to every day, to report to, with their teachers, with their friends, with the other grades, which is something that the administration has tried very hard to keep us all together. And it's really, really meaningful to us that they've tried to do that. And we feel that if we were allowed to, take up temporary residence here, it would be very, very meaningful for everybody, parents, students especially, who are just looking for that one place that they go to in the morning, they have their day, and then they go home, and then they come back the next day. That's what they don't have right now from the whole entire campus, as David said. From kindergarten through 8th grade, their entire campus was destroyed. So, and while we wait for the high school to be habitable, we're kind of piecing it together as best as we can. So if the board decided to help us out, that would be very, very, very much appreciated. And I thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Danielle Vanderwedding Steiner. Good evening. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Sorry, you got to start them young, right? Welcome again, or thank you for having me again. I'm Danielle Steiner, for those who wanted a face. I am an alumni here in Duarte. I'm also a teacher, over a decade of experience, and dedicated member of the Waldorf community throughout the years. Today, I'm asking you to take part in a powerful humanity effort to open Duarte's vacant school campus to schools and the Waldorf school displaced by the recent fires. The fires have left many schools without homes and children without a sense of stability. Yet here in Duarte, we have spaces that could be filled with sounds of learning and the spirit of hope once again. By opening our doors, we offer not just shelter, but a place where families can feel grounded and supported as they rebuild their lives and also their school. But this is about something much larger, Duarte's legacy. The children who walk through our doors will become ambassadors for Duarte, carrying our district's generosity, humanity, and hope into the world. They will reflect the compassion and empathy that they experience here, showing that Duarte is a community that rises to meet challenges with open hearts and open hands. Including the Waldorf School is, in this effort, would further enrich our community, which is holistic, heart-centered approach to education. Waldorf can help bring new energy and life to our unused spaces. Together, we can build a legacy of empathy, opportunity, and resilience that will define Duarte for years to come. I understand there may be contextual and logistical hurdles, but when we lead with empathy, solutions become possible. Challenges should never stand in the way of humanity, but this is a moment that showcases Duarte's true spirit, a district that steps forward with compassion and action. Together, let's show our community that the world, what Duarte stands for, and especially my experience in growing up. This is just part because I have time left over. It was beautiful that your students had an opportunity to sing We Are the World. And in 3rd grade, Miss Ogden, for those of you know, and Miss Mittman, we sang We Are the World. And it was the same time I remember being pulled out during that part, and my mom taking me to the Arboretum and telling me that my father just passed. I remember singing that song. I remember looking at everybody. I remember the people who were there. That's instilled for me to come to where I am today. I traveled far. I know and I love my town. And I want to sleep better knowing that what I was brought up to believe, those beliefs that we just read earlier, that exist. That means something. That's just carried out today with each of you. It's not put in a box. It means something because that's what I was raised to believe. So thank you.
Erin Semen Walsh. Good evening. You have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having us. Thank you for showing up. Reading and hearing the beliefs of your district, believing in your community of learners, putting that front and center, a culture of caring and respect. Several times tonight, the word family, the Falcon family, being connected, being seen, those are values that you here hold for an entire district. Those are values that I, as the pedagogical administrator, and every teacher and every staff member at the Waldorf School hold for our school and for our students. One thing that we've learned since the fires is when everything falls apart, what we can do from human to human is sometimes small, but it's also monumental. So people opened their doors, people opened their closets, people opened their pantries to our families. And in a way, that's what we're asking of the district. For a brief period of time, will you open your doors so that we can not take from what you have, but just find a home for now and take care of ourselves within those walls? So our promise is not to be a draw or a drain on the school district or on the city. Our promise is to care for, love, and educate our children in a corner of a space that you're not using for a short period of time, because our dedication is to rebuild in Altadena. We're a community school without a community in the physical sense, but with an amazing community of parents who will help us upkeep, of parents who will help us remediate if that's needed, of parents who will help us find desks and tables and chairs, of students and teachers who are ready to roll up their sleeves to make a stable place into the home that we need it. Right now, we're living in 4 rooms in a church and library spaces in Burbank and open gyms in a park, and we drive our children around in minibuses.
Your time is concluded. Thank you.
That's why the home is important. So thank you for listening to our call.
Brooke Richards. Good evening. You have 3 minutes.
Thanks for having me tonight. I'm Brooke Richards, and I came in support, especially of Aaron. I am a general contractor, and we specialize in turning commercial spaces into e-occupancies. One of the school principals we work with this year. So I came just in support of Pasadena Waldorf. I'm also a parent, and I was born and raised in Altadena. That whatever help this space would need, my company has promised to help support that space on behalf of Pasadena Waldorf to, like Aaron said, not be a drain on the space, so to speak. So, and just to thank you, it's been really hard for the kids to not have each other and being in one place. You know, it's not just a school they lost, a lot of them lost their homes. My mom's from St. Elizabeth's, and a lot of their kids lost their homes too. And the kids being dispersed is just such a bigger tragedy than, and being away from each other and their teachers. And as you all know, as educators, it's your teacher, the teachers are the front lines in these tragedies with COVID, with, you know, the fires, that they're the ones who are gonna help this generation get through this. So thank you for your support and hearing us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. David McGrath. Good evening, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Thanks for hearing us speak. I appreciate your time. I'm not used to speaking in public, but I did want to come and share what this school community has meant to my family. My husband and I formed our family through the foster care system. We had fostered our daughter for nearly the first 5 years of her life before we were able to adopt. And that is a process that instills a lot of trauma. We first came to Waldorf after 2 schools that were not a good fit for our family and for our daughter. And the Waldorf school is one whose philosophy is meeting each child where they are. And that certainly has held true for how this school has embraced my family and my daughter specifically. And this experience of losing this school has been a shock to the system. I'm encouraged by how this administration has continued to put the child first. Erin Shemin-Walsh, I think, would not tell you that she lost her home, but she is here advocating for our school community in a caring way that I am still astounded by. There are 12 faculty members that have lost their homes and are still showing up to educate our kids who are still struggling. So opening up this space would be an incredible gesture. I can tell you that when we first came into the Waldorf fold, it was one that I thought would be more challenging. There is an emphasis on being respectful to the community, being eco-friendly. There are no plastics allowed on campus, and I at first thought that was going to be very hard. But what I learned from being part of this school is that there is nothing that is being asked of us that we can't handle together. It has taught our family how to be kinder to the earth, how to be better neighbors, and I know that the Waldorf School has been an exceptional neighbor to the residents that live around them. And I know that that school would be a good fit in this community, and they would not cause any negative impacts in Duarte. I think it would be an incredible benefit to have this loving, caring community coming into Duarte, and I hope you will consider that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Harut Demijian. Good evening, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Thank you so much for your time. I'm the parent of a first grader at the Pasadena Waldorf School, and she's been there since preschool. So this is her 4th year. And one of the draws for us to the school was its sense of community. What I didn't appreciate when we started there was I was focused on our daughter's sense of community, but it was also the parents' community, which I didn't realize would matter so much. And the way that the parents have all been involved and supportive, and it's not just a drop off your kid and they're off on their own. And among the many destabilizing things from this natural disaster that struck is that now, as you've heard, the school has moved mountains to get classes starting again, which I'm obviously very appreciative of. But the solution is not great for the long term. Our kids are all in different classrooms in different places in town, and not even in the same place on every day. So while that works for now, it's really important for a school that values community so much to have a place where they can all be together because they don't see each other every day the way they used to. And these are kids who've already gone through COVID. Now they're going through this destabilizing experience, except this time they're going through it in isolation because the whole world isn't going through it. And a lot of people have moved on. And so the fact that you have a space that can accommodate that is really valuable, obviously. And I know you have a lot of considerations and a lot of things to weigh. So I understand that this is just one of many considerations. But I also know that one of the things we teach, and I'm sure that you also teach, is that when people work together, they can solve problems. And given that this is not a long-term request, it's finite, I'm sure that we can model that for the communities we're all a part of. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Gillian Kuhlman? Good evening, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, thank you. My name is Jillian, but there is a Gillian.
Sorry.
No, there's a Gillian in my daughter's first grade class, another mom, so
Gillian Flynn, I don't know.
it happens all the time. Yeah, my name is Jillian. I have a daughter in first grade at Pasadena Waldorf. You know about the disaster that has befallen our community and the urgent need for a place for our children to go to school every day. And I know and I can sense that you hear our plea. And so what I'd like to impart to this board today is not a plea, but a promise to treat the Andres Duarte Elementary School campus as sacred ground. It's a promise that I make with confidence in its realization and on behalf of our whole community, knowing that we all feel the same. For a little background about my relationship to the school, my daughter Annie is currently in the first grade class, as I said. She has cystic fibrosis, and during the pandemic, her father and I desperately searched for a place where our young child, at the time, our very young child, would be safe and receive a loving and wholesome early education. We found that in the PWS preschool, and she started there at the end of 2020, the Monday after she turned 3 years old. We, I think, intended to enroll her for early childhood and then probably go to public school or find another school. We didn't really know. But in the 2 years of preschool and the 2 years of kindergarten that followed, Pasadena Waldorf became our community. Even though escalations of her illness and family changes through her parents' divorce, my daughter has thrived. I attribute so much of that to the beauty and harmony of our school community, which holds every child, every parent, every staff member, faculty member with loving care. This last year, my partner, Joe, decided to send his 8th grader, Hunter, to Pasadena Waldorf after having been mercilessly bullied since first grade and having tried school after school to no avail. Within a month, we had a different kid in our home. The same community that nurtured my daughter took in his son, and Joe says that this school really saved his son's life, and we heard that from another parent who's actually, her student is in the same class as Hunter. Only 4 months after starting, the school burned down, the classroom burned down, and only 4 months after being a part of the community, Joe joined me in spending the night at our high school campus while the fires were still raging around us to make sure that that didn't burn down. There's a true commitment to our school community because of what it gives to every member. It's self-fulfilling and self-sustaining. Our experience is hardly atypical. As I say all this to you to explain a truth that I know, that our community takes care of itself. It holds sacred each member, and it will hold sacred where it lands, even temporarily. That's the magic of who we are.
Thank you, that concludes your 3
So
minutes.
I hope we have the opportunity. Thank you.
Miranda Russo? Good evening. You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah. Hi, I'm Miranda. 8 years ago, my husband and I became foster parents to 3 little girls. From their first night with us, we promised that we would always keep them safe. When they were adopted and it was time to find them a school, we searched everywhere for a space we could trust with our girls. Then we toured Waldorf, and we knew we had found such a place where they could feel safe, secure, and loved. Telling them that their school burnt down was one of the hardest conversations we've had, and my girls are very used to loss. Now we need a home base so our kids can feel that security and safety at school. And we're hoping that it's here at Duarte. Please consider our beautiful community of children, staff, and parents. We promise to only do good here. And also, I parked really terribly in the lot, and so just let me get out first. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes comments, Mr. President.
All right, thank you very much. So the item that we have here is a discussion. It was preceded by a lot of public comment. So board, I want to go ahead and open it up and see if there's items that we have questions about, and obviously not for the community members, but this would be more directed towards Dr. Hillman and her staff. So I guess I'll go ahead and open it up and see if there's any questions or comments.
I have a comment. What is the potential financial ramifications, including breach of contract and penalties, due to the fact that we have already agreed, or we're in the process of a development? So,
Yes, Dr. Hillman.
So at this point, in terms of the ENA, which is the exclusive negotiating agreement that the board approved last year, it is, at this point, the developer is going through the entitlement process. It's with the city right now. What that entails is doing all the traffic studies, and this is the work that they're doing to get to the point where the city would give the go-ahead of the approval. At the end of that period, they would bring it back to the board for approval, and for the developer to take the lease of the land. And at that point, we would have to vacate the property. But so at this point, we're still in the process of waiting that. We're already in an escrow with them. The developer has paid us $200,000 plus a $500,000 escrow payment. In terms of legal ramifications from that, that would be the next, that would be what we need to get legal counsel and engage legal counsel on that. The purpose of tonight's discussion is to get direction from the board of how you want to go into that, getting more information, exploring it further. With that comes a cost involving our attorneys, obviously, that we would be looking at what that would look like.
Also, what would be the actual benefit of the district? Would the payment cover the rent, the maintenance, the utilities, the security, the custodial staff, the needs of the school to be back up to par for somebody to be able to occupy it because it's been vacant for several years?
Well, there's cost involved, but that's unknown at this point. That would be part of the negotiations if the board would make that recommendation to move forward, to give direction to go that route. Certainly, as you mentioned, the school has been vacant for 2.5 years, so we would have to do some assessment there. That's a financial benefit in terms of what would that cost. That would be part of the analysis we'd have to make.
And how would it be maintained? I mean, who would maintain it?
That would be part of the any negotiation. Anytime we would have an agreement, that would have to be negotiated. Certainly, we would use legal counsel on that respect. There's some implications for what spaces are actually available as well. And I don't know if the board would be interested in hearing this part of it too. We had talked. We're going to be approving later tonight, or I'm sorry, bringing it to the board for approvals later tonight, is the agreement for our construction firm that will be doing the upgrades for MIT and child development and the upgrades of the classrooms over at Beardsley. That plan, which is part of what our architects have already developed, that plan includes moving some of the modular buildings that are on the Duarte campus. And that would mean not only the buildings that are where MIT is, but some of the classrooms on the actual Duarte campus are part of the plan to move them and repurpose them. They would be putting them at grade, so they're not having a ramp anymore, upgrading the interior and the exterior as well. That's been part of what the architect plan brought forward. For the timeline for that, our construction firm that we're going to be, contracting with, will be developing that timeline, and what that looks like. That's part of what's going to be happening imminently. So I don't have an exact timeline yet, but we need to start working on that now so that we're ready.
Thank you.
Excuse me. I think this would be a very great opportunity for us. And as far as cost, I don't see any cost. I bet you if we were to ask them if they would pay our attorney fees, they would jump at it. They would maintain, would pay for the utilities. We wouldn't be paying for security, because that's going to be on them if they occupy it, if they're able to. We wouldn't be paying for the water to water the grass or maintenance to mow the lawn. That would be all on them. I would like to sit down, move this forward and sit down with an attorney, so that way the attorney could better explain this to us. I don't know if any of you read the contracts, but it's a good faith negotiation. Okay, district agrees to negotiate exclusively and in good faith with developer and not solicit offers or proposals from other entities concerning the potential development of the property. Again, potential. The city, right now, it's an environmental impact report, okay, that they're working on that Dr. Hillman was mentioning. And they're still gonna need to go through the city to get the rezoning for that area. Because right now, it is not zoned for multiple use. It also, on our good faith agreement, it has limitations of this agreement. This agreement does not constitute a commitment of any kind by district regarding the lease, transfer, or development of all or any part of the property. District is merely an agreement to enter into a period of exclusive negotiations according to the terms hereof. We can postpone it. We can back out of this. Okay, I'm not an attorney, but I would love to sit down with one as the board so they can explain this to us, that, you know, we're not at this moment, we are not locked in. Okay, so there is an opportunity for us to be able to help do the humanitarian thing. Okay, again, if we had an issue with Valley View, with the floods, with the mud, you know, and thank goodness it didn't displace our children, but you know, it could be us. And look, as far as the capacity, if we needed to move students, I believe when we did a study back in 2016, the capacity was close to 600 students that it was able to house. Again, I think this would be a great opportunity for us and build a relationship. And again, it's about the students, it's about the children. I would love to open our doors to them. I don't see it as a financial burden. I see it as a win-win. And I believe we should be able to sit down with them and find out exactly what they will offer us, rather than just just guess what may happen or may not happen. So I would like this to be put on the agenda and maybe have a special meeting. There's a lot of teachers in this district that are in support of us doing this. They think it's a great idea as well. and they would like to have a study session with an attorney, so to see if we can move forward with opening our doors to Waldorf School. Thank you.
All right, well, there's definitely a lot here to consider, and I'm going to just follow up with what Mr. Reyes was looking at in the contract, because I actually was going to cite those two pieces as well. And so looking over this carefully, I am not an attorney, definitely have had some side conversations to try to develop some further understanding. And in looking at the limitations of the agreement, it does, this agreement does not constitute a commitment of any kind by the district regarding the lease, transfer, or development of all or any part of the property. Execution of this agreement by district is merely an agreement to enter into a period of exclusive negotiations, which is where we are right now. So then my question that comes after that is, but what are the underlying implications of that? Because this is something that is already in place. We have $750,000 from them. What happens to that money? We currently have them going back to the closing issue and the entitlement process. They're in that process. I understand that things don't move fast when it comes to obtaining permits, especially in California, but just not knowing where they are. And there's been a lot of work that's gone into this. And if I go to where it says, what is the purpose of this? In furtherance of these efforts, the district seeks to generate long-term revenue by the joint occupancy, development, and ground lease of the property. So I want to just also be true to what was called out originally in this. I also just want to say that to the Waldorf community, to the Altadena community, to our families who come to our schools in Duarte who have lost their homes, to our teachers who teach here in Duarte Unified who have lost their homes, like our heartfelt sympathy is there for you. We completely feel for you. But as a board member, I'm just gonna say I have to put our district first. We are a small public school that has very limited resources. And furthermore, our students come to us with very limited resources. Yet last night in our dashboard, more than 50% of our students are economically disadvantaged. Homelessness is a way of life for those students, not a way of disaster. And I will not do anything to put our district in a fiscally or legally vulnerable position that will put already vulnerable students in a vulnerable position. So all that to say, I want to go back to the comment that was made to promise not to be a drain. And if that promise could be upheld, we're talking $0. We're talking legal fees being covered up front. We're talking $750,000 maintained in our escrow account. We're talking that our project, that the purpose of it is for long-term revenue, isn't backed up because of that. And so those are the thoughts that are on my mind. And again, respect, values, compassion, yes. As a human being, yes. But as a board member, I have to think about Duarte Unified.
As far as revenue, okay, I've asked that question, and nobody here can tell me what that development is going to create for us. Okay? Is it going to be $1 million?
It's estimated about $450,000 per year starting when they finish.
Okay, and if you have,
This is 2.5%.
if you have 100 children, that's $1 million. My neighborhood, that's my neighborhood where that school is. My neighbors do not want the project to go through, and a lot of you were there in November and saw how angry they were. And I keep pushing. We have close to 1,500 students out there that are not attending our schools. We need to keep Andrés Duarte open and get those students back. It's very important that we should be educated. We have developments all around us, apartment buildings some of the, I mean, we're down to, what do they say, like 1.25 children? Okay, you have like 1,000 apartments that are going to be up here. Some of them, we already have, what, 500, 600 that are up. Where are we going to put those children? Okay, we're gonna end up developing that land. We're cutting into the park, okay? So we're reducing the park. That park was donated to the community for baseball, and we're not even honoring that as a board. We're ignoring all of that. Again, my neighborhood doesn't want the traffic that's gonna be providing. It's gonna be, it's not, nobody has bothered to take my neighborhood into consideration. It was all snuck in, okay, until I made it a point when I ran for school board this past November. And it became an issue this past year. That's how my neighborhood found out about it. But otherwise, they didn't know because no outreach was done, no communication was done. And again, we could postpone this project before going forward and allow them to come in. It's temporary. I say we sit down with an attorney so it could be better explained to us.
I want to thank, oh, yeah, do you want to say it?
No,
first?
go ahead.
Okay, so I do want to thank everyone that came out and spoke on this item. I will say it's very encouraging to hear how tight-knit of a community you all are, and it's very evident by the fact that you're here this evening. And I think community is important wherever it is. And that is something that I believe, I myself value that. Regardless of where that community is, I think it's important that that community it's made up of people and not buildings. And that is very evident in seeing you all here this evening. My thought on this is, as Dr. Hasso pointed out, we are a small district, but I also think small districts can do big things and do important things. And I am, very, very dedicated to the school district here, having, attended the schools here K through 12 and having 3 of my own children in this district, and being elected to put our district as a priority. Now, that does not mean a temporary, relocation of students from another community to our campus, our unused campus right now. Those aren't mutually exclusive things in my mind. But, we would have to have very, very strong assurances, legal assurances, that there would be zero negative financial impact to our district. Because, as those of us, that have been a part of the Duarte community for a long time, know we are not flush with cash. And so as much as we would love to roll out the red carpet, if we were to do something like this, we would, need PWS to bring their own red carpet, so to speak. And that is, again, this is just me speaking. I think it's worth exploring this further. With that being said, I do not want to derail our project at the Crestfield property. So as long as there's not a financial impact to our district, and as long as that project is not derailed, those things are things that I think, as long as they are safeguarded, I think it's worth having a discussion further about this and finding out more about what potentially could happen. But yeah, those are my probably more than 2 cents. So, Vice President Diaz.
I really value the love and passion that you have for your school. And that school is your kids. There are your kids. And a couple of years ago, this room was packed with teachers, students, parents, telling us, don't close AD. We had 350 students. I cry almost every night when parents call me and tell me, don't close our school. Don't send our kids to Berkeley or Royal Oaks, and they are schools just within less than a mile. And we took that decision, and I took the responsibility to be 2 years in a row to be the president, to have the courage to speak to each of them. I don't know how can I support and help you with your pain and where you're going right now when Mr. Reyes was there on that side, asking us not to close that school. And many parents were here. And there were parents that didn't speak any English. And I promised them every night after the board meetings to go down and talk to them in Spanish and promise them that their kids will go to the schools that they want to send, to be sent. It was tough. I don't know how can I face the district, the community has elected me to serve here for the last 27 years. And open that womb to them and say, you closed the school with 350 students, and now you are opening to 240 students? It's not that I don't want to do. It's not that I don't want to help. It's that I don't have faith and moral to go and tell them we are opening a school for people, the students that really need it, because their schools, they lost their schools. I just want to be very honest to you. I can keep going with discussions, talking, speak to a lawyer, but I represent the Duarte Unified School District. And I don't know what you will do if you were in my situation. I just feel my heart going boom, boom, boom during the time that you were talking, because I see the need. But I also see the pain of the community if we open that school and open it for students that are not living in our community. Probably one is, or two. That's my comment. And I am sorry, but I am sincere. I'm not going to promise something that I don't have in my heart. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing how much you love your kids. But I want to tell you, I love mine too. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other comments, board? All right. I believe that then wraps up our discussion on this item. I think we'll now move on to item.
Are we gonna continue, or we're just shutting this down? We're not gonna sit down with an attorney? and sit down with maybe a couple of them and find out where we're going?
So-
That was it? That's the final say?
This is a board. All of them, all
Yes,
of
I
us
know.
have to make the decision.
Yeah,
I understand that.
So there is not a item to vote on here.
I understand. I
And
understand.
so there's, you said we can make a motion? Okay. So, so I guess then we can go ahead and make a motion then to, okay. So if we would like as a board, to direct the superintendent to go ahead and bring this back for a future meeting, we can go ahead and entertain that motion as part. Yes, Dr. Hillman.
Excuse me, I just wanted to add one thing. I would respectfully ask the board to just give direction, to a one voice direction for which way the staff would want to go in terms of what kinds of, an analysis of what needs to be done, if the direction is that we want to pursue this, and then that way I, as the superintendent, can work with staff and legal counsel and other components to get a clear direction from the board, and that would be much appreciated.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so I will make a motion then. So board, I would move that we direct and ask our superintendent to work with legal counsel and with her team to evaluate the feasibility of having PWS occupy on a temporary basis the campus of Andrews Duarte. So that's. Okay. So all right. So I guess to approve costs that would be associated with that. So that's my motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on that item. So is there any discussion?
I know the motion's already been made and seconded, and so the motion as was made was to spend the funds for legal counsel. I would like to amend, perhaps, and if I can't, then that's fine, that the superintendent explore the cost ahead of time of what that counsel would look like and bring that back to the board.
Okay, so we have an amendment to the original motion to look at the cost of evaluating the attorney fees and other items, and bring that and communicate that back to the board. So that is the amendment to the original motion. So do we need another second on that, Mercedes? Okay, so we'll need a second to that amendment.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on the revised amendment. Any further discussion, board?
Yes, so this is going to take a month. We're going to wait till next month to do this?
However long it takes to do it right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, hopefully it will not take a month.
We haven't been having, very many meetings, okay? And we have one regular board meeting a month. So are we going to be waiting till next month? It's going to be, or are you going to call for a special meeting as the president?
I think it would be in our best interest to go ahead and meet sooner than a month from now. So I would say that we should meet and get that information from Dr. Hillman before our meeting in March. Yes.
So that would be, we would be provided with the cost analysis, and then we could look at calendar dates to revisit engaging in the further analysis or engaging further in legal counsel.
Yes.
Got it.
And if we can get the Waldorf community to pay for the attorneys? Can we move forward with this?
That would be something we would have to see. But yeah, I mean, I think that's been part of the sentiment up here amongst the board is that, you know, we don't have the resources to cover that. So I think that would probably be an expectation, but that would be something that Dr. Hillman and her team would find out.
And a MOU stating that would be welcome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again?
Oh, I just said an MOU stating that if they wanted to pay for the fees and provide that to the board for review, I said I would welcome that.
Any other comments or discussion? All right, I'm sure you'll have to go back and watch this recording. With all that in mind then, board, all those in favor of that motion, go ahead and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So this is the amended motion to have Dr. Hillman explore the costs of what this would, to do this analysis would be, with the intention of us returning before the next board meeting to discuss and find out more from Dr. Hillman about that. Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
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 Those that are against say nay.
Nay.
And sorry, I was an aye. All right, thank you, board. All right, we can now move on to item 13.7. This is just to receive for information. This is the construction and modernization project update. One question I just had, Dr. Hillman, about this is that the estimated completion date for the sports complex is March 1st, which is coming up-ish. So is that something, or is it safe enough for us potentially to go and take a look at this at some point as a board?
So I'm going to let Ms. Bell take this so that she can give you, she's the one who is overseeing all the construction projects and give you a better sense of the timeline. Ms. Bell?
So the estimated completion date is probably closer to the end of March. And there's a lot of, I would wait because there's a lot of dirt still and we're waiting for the concrete for the outside. And in the inside, they're laying the floor, the actual hardwood floor. So I don't want to bring 5 people in when there's a lot of people working because they want to finish the project. So maybe when we get a little bit closer and those floor is kind of closed up and the pathway up to the gym, because we went the other day and it's really, really muddy and dirt a lot. And I don't want to bring you through that. It's not safe. I have pictures if you want.
Thank you for looking out for our well-being. I appreciate it, Ms. Bell.
So always.
All right. Yes. All right. Well, that's it. I'm just excited.
I have pictures. I can send you the pictures.
I'm
I
giddy.
can give you an idea. There's the basketball hoops are up. The the scoreboard is up. The partial floor is up. The windows are up. The eagle wings are not, the falcon wings are not up yet. Sorry, I was all still with Jalen. The falcon wing is not on the window yet, but the sinks are in, the bathrooms are in. So it's coming along, looks really, really, really nice. But there's still a lot of open flooring. So the pathway is a little dangerous.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you very much. All right. I think we can then move on to item 14.1. Board, do I have a motion to approve the 25-26 comprehensive school safety plans?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Holguin. Is there any discussion? I did have, I guess, two quick questions. Dr. Hillman, I'll kind of let you decide how and where to direct these. So if someone could, as we were reading through these are, for people that aren't familiar with these are very large documents, very extensive. Yes, oh yeah, there they are over there. I only looked at the digital version, so, but to see it printed out is somewhat awe-inspiring. So anyway, if someone could kind of explain the process of creating these documents and who all is involved with that and everything.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask Mr. Crosby. His office oversees that activity, and I'll take it from there, Mr. Crosby.
Thank you so much. And yeah, Student Services and Director Naila Othman really oversees, but it's underneath my department. This is a legal requirement done yearly. It goes through the school site council, and local law enforcement have to review this and approve it. They conduct and gather the safety information. And because why it has to be done every year, new data has to be put into that. And I know you guys review, this is a common practice, you review that, these policies around this time every single year. But the school site council must adopt the plan, and they have to put it out in public view for public viewing too. And then eventually it comes to the governing board for approval, which comes to today. They've been working on this all school year long to develop this plan for you, and which comes this time every year.
Great, thank you very much. And then my other question was in these school safety plans, there was mention of children or students that are on special medications and whatnot. And so I was just kind of curious, at each site, is there a database or directory or something like that of what all these medications are and when they need to take them? And
that's held in confidential files in our nurse's office.
I see. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right. So with that, then we can go ahead and take a vote on this. So all those in favor of approving the 2025-2026 Comprehensive School Safety Plan, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on to 14.2, Duarte Unified School District's Workplace Violence Prevention Plan. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Holguin. Any discussion, board? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 14.3, Memorandum of Understanding and MOU between DUSD and DUEA to establish a one-time wildfire severe impact.
Severe
okay.
impact leave.
Thank you. It is
It's in the agenda.
not continued on my script here. So severe impact leave relief. And so can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Hasso, second by Board Member Holguin. Is there any discussion, board?
Dr. Hillman, could you explain that to the community?
Absolutely. I'm going to ask Mr. Crosby to bring that forward. That was coordinated through the Office of Personnel Services. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. We worked with our partners, our certificated partners, DUEA, and actually our classified partners with CSCA to develop this plan for our staff that have been severely impacted by the wildfires. Through this MOU, staff that have been severely impacted, we gave them 10 administrative leave days, so extra days to help out and things. We also gave some flexibility in our personal necessity time, where previously we had up to 8 days to be taken for personal necessity. That was moved to 20 if they had the availability in their leave bank. And then thirdly, so it went step one, first 10 days without using their leave bank. Then step two, being more flexible with their personal necessity. And then when that runs out or ran out, then a relief bank from other employees could give to those impacted employees. So tonight you have this agreement for DUEA. Next month, you'll have the same agreement for our CSCA members. They just could not vote on it in time to get on this agenda. So I want to make sure that we're looking at all of our employees and really trying to help out of employees that have been impacted because of the wildfires.
Great, thank you, Mr. Crosby. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right, so all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All righty, moving on to 14.4. This is resolution number 142425 regarding non-reelection and release from employment of temporary certificated employees. Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Holguin. Any discussion, board? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we're moving on to resolution number 152425 regarding the non-reelecting of certificated probationary employee. Motion to approve already by Board Member Diaz.
Second.
Second by Board Member Hasso. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on to educational services, item 15.1. This is for the renewal of the California School of the Arts San Gabriel Valley Charter. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Holguin. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes, Dr. Hillman, what is, as far as the school is going, what has been our profit off of the school?
We have a charter, we benefit, there is a benefit for us. We have a 3% oversight of their ADA that's part of our fees. We also have students that come to our district, enroll in our district, that are coming for this program specifically. Over the years, we have it on our website. It's about $1.8 million per year. So we really, that's because the excess of students.
That's coming from the high school? I'm talking about the high school.
The
I'm
high
not
school.
talking about the program. That's not part of,
Pardon me?
that's not part of this charter.
It's a sixth,
The 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
yes, the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is part of the charter renewal.
Of the charter agreement? Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead. Continue. I'm
So
sorry.
yes, no, that's okay. So there is the students that enroll in our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade are enrolled in Duarte Unified. And so we collect the ADA from those students. Those students, we have approximately, this year, we have approximately 200 students who are coming from out of our attendance area and bringing with them that ADA. So we do benefit from that.
Okay, so who is, because when I looked at the MOUs, okay, let me let people know, I was on the board at the time that we approved this, okay? And it was supposed to be a partnership, and I haven't seen them come through. There's in some of these MOUs where it talks about them building and putting construction. And the president at that time was, CEO was Mr. Opasek. And I don't know where he's at today. But we were promised, the board was promised, okay? I was promised by them that they were gonna be building a facility on Northview and for their dance program, et cetera, and it was gonna be a 2-story building. And we were gonna be able to use it, okay? And it never happened. We were promised that there was gonna be an orchestra pit put inside the PAC Center. And they were gonna invest over $1 million back then into the PAC. They were gonna give us a new screen. They were gonna redo the sound system. They even talked about maybe even putting in a balcony, seriously investing in it. never happened. And what I've seen over the years is they've taken over the PAC Center, they control the calendar, they've taken over our gym at Northview, they've taken over the field. We don't have senior soccer anymore on the weekends. I went into the PAC a couple weeks ago, the Martin Luther King event, and also that one evening when people were protesting about the hazardous waste site. And I was disappointed to see that it's not being maintained properly. My concern is that we need to hold them accountable. We're getting 3%, which is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not in the millions. That was another thing that was promised. We were going to make a couple million easy off of them. They were supposed to, for free, and not just during summertime, but teach kids if they wanted to learn the arts at that facility. That didn't happen. The point I'm trying to make is, how are we going to hold them accountable? Okay, right now they pay $1 a year for that facility. $1 a year. And they have the teacher's parking lot. They have the PAC Center. They have where we're used to the Ed Center. That's all part of it now. They have the field, and they have the gym. And we're getting $2,000 a month for that. That's unheard of. You know, so I suggest that we sit down before we approve this and go through the MOU together, and again, with an attorney that can explain all of this stuff to us, because I don't think we're getting the better end of the deal. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Anyone else have a comment? All right, I will go ahead and say, I mean, as Dr. Hillman pointed out on our website, we do talk about the partnership that we have with CS Arts, and it is, as Dr. Hillman mentioned, a net positive of around $1.8 to $2 million a year, which definitely helps out our bottom line. And you know, I was not on the board when this was agreed upon, but I do know that my own children in the district have been participants in a lot of arts programs, both during the summer and during the school year. So in terms of those items, it's been my experience and understanding that that end of the bargain is being held up. So that is just my comment on that. If there's no other comments, we can go ahead and vote on this item.
I have a comment.
All right.
I just like to read the last portion, the last part of all the documents that we got what we receive from our superintendent and her staff. And it says, after evaluating CSR charter, utilizing the standards and criteria set forth in Education Code Section 47605, considering new requirements of charter school enacted into laws since CSR charter was last materially revised, considering CDE's designation of CSA Arts as high-performing charter school, and based upon the above analysis, district staff find that CSR has satisfied the criteria for renewal and recommend renewal of the charter for 7 years term from July 1st, 2025 through June 30, 2032. Since it's the responsibility of the board approve the recommendation of our superintendent, I make a motion to approve it.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Thank you. I see your fingering hovering there.
Second.
Board member? Okay, I think we already had a motion in a second. Yes. Okay. And then Dr. Hasso, I see your green light on.
Oh.
Did you have anything you wanted to say before we vote?
I just wanted to mention that where it says under applicable law, charter renewals are governed by the standards and criteria described in section 47605, which is what Ms. Diaz just mentioned. And so given the criteria and the fact that they've met the criteria, yeah.
All right, great. So board will go ahead and now vote on this renewal. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against?
No.
All right. Moving on to item 15.2, the consolidated application for winter 24-25. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Holguin. Any discussion, board? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the next item is just for us to receive for information. This is the annual update to the LCAP and local control funding formula budget overview for parents. So that was what Dr. Lawson provided to us, so we're receiving that from information. Next, we are also receiving for information, which is the public viewing of instructional materials for grades 9 through 12. And these are for the science textbooks, and we are also receiving that for information. Item 16.1, the shelter operations facility. This is the shelter operations facility use agreement with the American Red Cross. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Holguin, second by Board Member Hasso. Any discussion?
Yes, Dr. Hillman, how's this supposed to work?
In the event that there's a crisis, the Red Cross, we have opened up our gym to the Red Cross should they need it.
The gym?
Gym.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Hillman, it's also the cafeteria.
Oh, thank you. Cafeteria as well.
The gym and the cafeteria.
At the high school?
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we'll go ahead and vote on this then. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. 16.2, this is an amendment of agreement number 5 with Nino and Moore to provide geotechnical materials testing and special inspections for the Duarte High School new sports complex project. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Board Member Holguin.
Second.
Second by Board Member Diaz. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 16.3, approval of the amendment of agreement number 5 with Little Diversified Architects to provide professional design services for the Duarte High School new sports complex project. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Holguin, second by Board Member Hasso. Any discussion?
Yes. Dr. Hillman, could you explain this?
Yes, I'm going to ask Ms. Bell to go ahead and explain that. It's an item in her area.
What would you like explained so I can?
What are they doing? Because I thought we already had them out there. I
Little?
thought they already did
Okay.
the sports complex. Designed it. I don't
yeah.
know. That's why I'm asking the question.
No, I just want to make sure what your question is so I can answer it correctly. So your question is, what are they doing? This is what they've done. So this is regarding the storm drain move.
That's
So
what this is
what
for?
This is what this was. It's already been taken care of, but this is what this change order was about. So the storm drain was there. There was issues during plan development about the storm drain. So that's what this was about a year ago, maybe, before they actually started laying the ground. The storm drain, there was an issue about how close it was. So the county said you have to redesign it because when the crane came in, it would sit on the storm drain. Once they had to do new designs, so this is what this change orders, the new designs to say the building should move over, 2 inches. I'm just exaggerating. The building should come over 2 inches. When they also did that, there's a county sewer line. So they said, now we have to figure out where that goes to. So there's an issue with the storm drain and the sewer line. So that's what these are.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any further discussion, board? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 16.4, this is an agreement for construction management services from Erickson Hall Construction Incorporated for the Beardsley Dual Language Academy and Mount Olive Innovation and Technology Continuation High School Relocation and Modernization Project. I feel like that needs an acronym. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Holguin, second by Board Member Hasso. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And 16.5, this is the leaseback contract with Balfour Beatty for the Beardsley Dual Language Academy and Mount Olive Innovation and Technology Continuation High School Relocation and Modernization Project. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Holguin. Any discussion, board? I just would like a quick Cliff Notes version of the leaseback process or why we do that.
Miss
Not that I ever looked at Cliff Notes in high school.
Never in your life.
Miss Bell, would you take that, please?
So in this little yellow book, that was Cliff Notes when I was in school. So the leaseback is just more beneficial for the district. If you remember, when we were at the community center, this was one of the questions Mr. Reyes raised then too. And so the leaseback just gives us a better controlled cost. And we use the actual construction managers the construction builders to find the subs and things like that. So I gave you the example then, the tennis courts was a multi-line construction project, multi-prime construction project, meaning we'd have to go out and find the electrical, the concrete, and all those type of things, which then we ran over budget in that particular project. The leaseback is what we have with the sports complex and what we also are taking with the move. So it gives us more control. So there is Balfour Beatty will be the construction builders. Erickson Hall, which is our construction managers at the sports complex, will also be our construction managers for that. So what you hear lease back is that what happens is they lease back the property to us. So when we first take over the contract, they actually pay us $1. They actually brought us $1 check. And so throughout the process, they are finding the subcontractors. We are paying Balfour Beatty to find the cement people, the movers, the actual construction. We don't do any of that. We pay them, they pay the contractors. It shows us a little bit better cost-wise. Then at the end of the contract, we pay another 5% back. So the lease back, we pay that back, but it's the retention that was always there anyway. We took that money. So for this particular project, we have about $1.5 million in their retention. And so then we'll make like a year's payments of about $130,000 a month until that's paid back, but it's already there. It's not any additional cost. It's because we took that 5% off when we did the contract. Lease back.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All righty. So we are now to the final item-ish on our agenda. So this is non-agendized items for the board members and the student board member and superintendent. So we will go ahead and move down, why don't we move down the dais here we'll start out with Priscilla. We'll let you go first if you have any final closing comments for us.
Okay, real quick. I just wanted to say one of my favorite things of sitting here with you guys is getting to learn so much. I love getting to hear everything that you guys get to make decisions on, and I think it's really great that I get to learn, and I really do like listening and hearing all these different perspectives. And I just hope I can do a great job these next 3 months because my time with you guys is slowly coming to an end. I can see the finish line, and I am excited for the future, and I'm excited to learn and teach someone else that they get to learn too. And I forgot to mention earlier, not to brag, but I mentioned about the Senior Hall of Fame, and I was voted most likely to succeed. Not to brag.
Hey!
But I did want to mention that.
Congratulations. We had zero doubt about that. And I think if we took a random poll at DHS and asked people if they knew what lease back meant, you would be the only person that could answer that. So clearly you are most likely to succeed. Excellent. All right, Mr. Reyes.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if you guys know this. I went to go see basketball Parks and Rec on a couple Saturdays ago, and found out that Priscilla is a coach.
Oh.
She's a busy young lady. Oh my gosh. She's coaching Valley View, the team her brother's on, right? Your brother's on that team. And they killed, what was the score? And you played who? No. Arcadia. They beat Arcadia. It's awesome. Dr. Hillman, I'm just following up with the heater at the gym. Okay, I don't know if anything happened yet with it.
It's set at a certain, it's preset, so because that day was particularly cold, but we'll look at that.
Oh, okay, because,
I know I didn't get an answer to you that day. I think it was a
right,
Saturday
but
morning.
because
or
that thing,
It was cold.
they had it turned all the way up to 90, and cold air was coming out of that.
Mm.
It was terrible. Also, a parent brought this to my attention about Valley View and the fencing that we had put up years ago with the bond, the wrought iron fencing on, is it Mel Canyon? On the Mel Canyon side, there's an area that, I don't know why, it's missed and it's chain link. And some residents there have been telling me that they've been seeing people jump over there because it's so low. It's like the old chain link that's there. So if we can, get that secured, right? And hopefully we'll keep the people out from going in there. And then also, I know it was brought up at a board meeting, and I think Priscilla had brought it up also, but I just wanted to follow up with the ice machine at the snack bar on the field, okay, if that ever got repaired, okay? And then thank you for last night's meeting. It was a great meeting. Thank you. And I'm glad we were able to sit down and do that. And I'm hoping we could sit down and do something like that with the budget in the near future. Thank you.
Dr. Hasso.
All right, thank you. First off, congratulations, Priscilla. Always so great to have you here as you're making your way towards the end of your senior year. I know you have a proud mom here too. Proud mom here too. Sorry, it's been a long day. So I wanted to just circle back to the highlight on DHS and just another example of the good things that we're doing collectively here. Again, Dr. Lawson, thank you so much for the really thoughtful presentation you shared with the board and the community last night, really focusing on student achievement and where we're making those gains. That's the number one operation of schools, and so thanks for bringing that. Then I also just wanted to thank Dr. Hillman and Neela around the response to the community from families who have been concerned about, threats to students or to the parents of students because of their immigration status or perceived immigration status. That is a real concern for many people in our community. And so I appreciate that you didn't diminish that you took swift action and, acknowledge that that's real for our community and that we have those students' safety in mind. So thank you for that.
All right, Board Member Holguin.
Well, I want to thank everybody. I know it's late, so I'm going to make it real quick. I want to thank everybody for all the hard work and getting us all the information we need. Thank you, Dr. Hillman. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, everybody, but Tiffany, I want to be the first to walk into the gym, please. I'm excited. I've been waiting for this for 2 years, please. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
All right, thank you very much. Board Member Diaz.
It has been a long night, but I remember that 20-some years ago, we stayed here until after 11. There were long board meetings with Dr. Beckler. And I can tell you that it hasn't been an easy board meeting today, but I believe that we always have to keep the students first. And when we make decisions and choices, it's thinking about the students. I like to also acknowledge Genevieve being here tonight because she represents the district on the CSR board. So I know her kids graduate from the district and from CSR. But I will tell you, we have an amazing, amazing group of people that without them, we will not look that good up here. So Dr. Hillman, thank you. Your staff is amazing. And at the end, it's about students. It's not about us. I have seen many, many board members going through here, but it's about the students. Thank you, all of you, for being here. And like I mentioned before, the parents, there are still, some of them are still here, and some are gone. This board, even though we agree or not, we will make the decision. And 4 members went and say yes. 1 member only say no. And that's the democracy. That's the freedom of this country, that we can say with respect what we feel in our hearts. Because if I say yes, and tonight I will be saying, why did I say yes? If my conscience is saying no, that's the main thing. I want to go to sleep believing that my decisions are the right ones. Not because I have the right, but with this in my heart, I make that decision. We have here someone who represents OFL, someone who represents CSR, and we are here. Thank you for being here tonight. And Jessica. So I really like to once again say thank you to Dr. Lawson, to Stephanie, and my dear Mr. Crosby. And when I say dear Mr. Crosby, is because one of my youngest grandsons, he's gonna be 23 soon. One day he say, I don't wanna go to high school. And I say, oh, really? You don't wanna go to high school? No. And I said, why not? Well, I don't want to, Nana. I call him and I say, are you around? And he say, I am at Maxwell School. So I told him, can you stop by my house? He went home, he grabbed some water from the faucet, went to Nathaniel's room, and wake him up. Nathaniel came to the high school. And Nathaniel graduated during the pandemic. And Nathaniel have a high respect for Mr. Crosby. That's the Duarte family. Thank you to all of you and good night. Thank you.
So Mr. Crosby's the enforcer. I see how it is. Okay. Vice President Diaz, you said you were here till 11 one time. Well, challenge accepted.
And your grandfather was here too.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, thank you, board, very much. Thank you to the community that came out. It's invigorating to be a part of this process. It's a chance to see kind of how the sausage gets made, and it's an important work that we're all involved with. That's from the parents all the way up through the teachers, the classified staff, board members, Dr. Hillman and her team. We all have one goal in mind, and that is to help to develop young scholars into fully functional adults that can contribute positively to society. Because whether we believe it or not, all of us in this room are, except for that young man in the back there, all of us are closer to not being a productive member of society than the kids that we serve. And it is, I'm speaking for myself here, and it is an honor and a privilege to be a part of that great work, whatever role we have in it. And it is something that I hold very dearly. And I want to thank Dr. Lawson for her contribution to the study session last night, as well as the presentation this evening, that helps to demonstrate the steps that we are taking to develop these future leaders of our world. And these measurements, they may seem like small steps, but as I believe it was Albert Einstein, in referencing compound interest, he said it was the eighth wonder of the world. If we get 1 or 2% better every year over decades, that's phenomenal. And it's just an honor to be a part of that. And so I just want to go ahead and close and say thank you to all of you that are contributing positively to our role as educators and facilitators of education. And I think that's all I have. So Dr. Hillman, do you have anything you want to close with?
All I want to close with, two things. It's getting late. Be careful getting home. It's raining a lot tonight. And happy Valentine's Day. Run out and get some chocolate before midnight. Thank you, board.
Thank you. All right. So we can now move on to our item of adjournment, the true last item on here. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second. Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Holguin. Any discussion? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mercedes.
Thank you.